Any better? Is this any good? Or the same? Good? Oh, better. Okay. Hopefully, I haven't changed anything, so hopefully it will just work. Okay. All right. I will carry on then, and if it goes funny again, does that mean, did you see all the verb suffixes then, or do you want me just to show you them again? Do you want me, okay, I'll do the noun ones, and if you want me to show you the verb ones again, then just tell me, okay? Because I don't know if the picture was good for those or not. Okay, so the noun ones are. Oh, again, okay, perfect. Right, so the verb ones were these. We had ed, and can you see these okay now? Hopefully you can. So ed was for the past tenses. So just regular past simple or past participle with ed. Okay, so you've got laughed, climbed, called, missed. Simple ones. En was become, so the examples were soften, fasten, lengthen, strengthen. So if something is hard and then it becomes soft, it's upside down. I give up. How's that? Or this? Is this good? Or is this how's this? On my phone, it's the right way up. Are we upside down still, or are we okay? You'll have to tell me. Okay, so if something is hard and it becomes this one, like this. Don't turn the camera, okay? Why does that not work? That's crazy. Okay, so I'm going here then, so you'll just have to look where the cursor is, okay? So that was become, en is become, okay? So if something's hard, it becomes soft, it softens. And as I said earlier, we don't pronounce the T in that, it's a silent T, so it's just soften. And same for fasten, okay? Right, next one is er. So an action or process and making an adjective a comparative. So if something is fast and becomes faster, or one thing is faster than another. Okay, then we had ing, which is fairly straightforward. It's just your continuous forms. Okay, so you just add ing for present continuous, past continuous. So you've got laughing, swimming, driving, writing, just as examples. And then the last one was IZE or ISE, and as I was saying, if it's English you're talking about, it's ISE. IZE is American. So if you're taking a Cambridge exam or something, use ISE, because they won't like it. But if your computer tells you have a spelling mistake, it's because you're using S instead of Z, because most computers are set up to American English, especially Skype and phones. And it means to cause or to become. Okay, and we had authorise, commercialise, advertise, etc. Okay, so those are those ones again, just so you can all see them. If I do that, then if you're writing, you have a chance to write it all down. I don't know if you can pause Instagram when you watch it back or not. Okay, and then we will move on to the noun suffixes. Okay, so we have EER, which is where I started last time. So if you're engaged in something or associated with something, so the example I was giving was an auctioneer. So somebody who runs an auction is an auctioneer. Okay, and as I said earlier, an auction is like eBay, for example, is an auction. And somebody, if it's not an online one, if it's a normal one, then you have an auctioneer who takes the bids. And if you if you work and it's voluntary work, then you are a volunteer or to volunteer. So that can be a noun or a verb. Then we had ER. I should move the cursor down. Where's it gone? ER. So someone who performs an action. So if somebody helps, they are a helper. If somebody teaches, they are a teacher. If somebody preaches, they are a preacher. And if they dance, they are a dancer. If they sing, they're a singer. Okay? So somebody who performs the action, you add ER. And then ION is the action or process. So to celebrate, you have a celebration. Okay? It's you have an opinion. You can make a decision. Or you can do some revision. If you revise, you do revision. Okay, shall I make this one a bit bigger? Is it better when it's bigger? Whoop. A bit bigger. Okay. So ITY was the state or condition. So if something is probable, we talk about probability, equality, abnormality, civility. Okay, so ITY is the state or condition. Oh, it's all moved across now because I've got different pages. How on earth do you hold a phone still for this long? MENT, meaning is the action or result of. So hang on, I've made my text bigger now, so I've confused it. So movement, retirement. So to move, you have movement. To retire, you have retirement. To abandon, abandonment. And establish, establishment. Okay, obviously there are loads more examples, but the lists go on and on, so I won't go on and on. Okay, and then we have ness, state or quality. So fondness, awareness, kindness, and darkness. So a state or a quality is NESS. And then OR, a person who is something. Okay, so a person who distributes is a distributor. A person who investigates is an investigator. A person who translates is a translator. And a person who conducts is a conductor. Okay? And we tend to just say translator, not translator for all of those. We don't really say tor, we say ter. SION, state or being. So the state or being of something. If you are depressed, you have depression. If you are confused, you have some confusion. If you are tense, you have tension. Okay. Alright, and the last one's compulsion. Okay. And ship. Position held. Okay. Your worship. So people often talk about this in... What about doctor? Sorry. You've lost me. What about doctor? What about doctor? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh. Sorry, Irina, I don't understand your question. Oh, TH is at the end. State or quality, we had strength, depth and warmth. To have, so the strength of something, the depth of something, and the warmth of something. Sorry, Irina, I'm not sure what your question is about doctor. Okay, I'm just going to show the list again in case anybody wants to write them down. Oh, sorry, I see what you mean. Yes, well, doctor, yeah, a doctor is a doctor. But we wouldn't really talk about to doct. But yeah, a doctor is a doctor who performs as a doctor. But there are loads of OR words that you could list. These are only a few examples. Sorry, yeah, the list is not by any means exhaustive. It's just a few examples of each one. There are loads and loads of each one. So yeah, you could probably think of lots of examples for each one. I've just put a few examples for each one just so you get the idea. That's all. Because otherwise we'd be here for a very long time with lots of very long lists. Okay. So I think last week I explained a few rules, and there are a few, and again there are some exceptions as you go along. Probably you'll always, there, as with everything in English, but I'm going to give you these sort of rules which help a bit with the spelling. So I think I explained this one last week, but I will go over it again because I didn't type it, I don't think. So this one says when a word ends with a consonant and the suffix begins with a consonant, you just add the suffix with no spelling. Okay, so for example, entertain ends with the consonant because it ends in N, and your suffix begins with a consonant M, so you just add it. Entertainment. Okay. All right. We have, for most words ending in a single consonant, you need to double the last letter when you add the suffixes. Especially true for one-syllable words. So run and ends in a single consonant, and then you have running, and you have fun, and you have funny. Okay. Now my computer has gone here. Okay, when the one-syllable word ends with more than one consonant, the last letter is not doubled. So here you've got start, so it's got RT, so consonant, consonant, so you don't double it. Okay, ring, NG, don't double it, just add ING. Okay. Rule 4. For words with more than one syllable and end with the letter L, you must double the L when adding suffixes. So cancelled, cancel goes to cancelled. So this one as well, I'm just going to point out for an example of why things are confusing with spellings. So if you have things, oh, was it that one I was going to, yeah, I think that's the example I was going to give, like travel, and then if you add ing you have travelling, and you double the L. I've noticed that the American spelling is a single L, so when I type travelling on Skype and I use a double L, it tells me I have a spelling mistake because the American spelling is with one L and the UK spelling is with two L's. So that's another thing to be aware of because it can be confusing. Okay, so that was rule 4. Rule 5. Words that are stressed on the last syllable and end with a single consonant. Yeah, isn't it confused me because I couldn't understand why Skype was telling me I had a spelling mistake. I didn't realise. Yeah, it's confusing. Words that are stressed on the last syllable and end with a single consonant, you need to double the letter. Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? Because you write things and it tells you there's a spelling mistake and you're trying to understand why, and then you realise that it's just because it's an American spelling, not an English one. It's very annoying. What did I say? Sorry, yes, stressed on the last syllable and end with a single consonant, you need to double the last letter. So refer and referring, begin and beginner. Okay, if you can remember all these rules, then you're doing very well. Because it's not easy to remember them. I think most people just learn the spellings, but some people remember rules really well. So, okay, words that are not stressed on the last syllable you do not need to double the last letter. Ooh. So benefit and ed is benefited, and offer is offering. Okay, that's rule 6. And then the last one is rule 7. Okay, and I think I talked about this one last week as well, the Y and the I and the silent E. Okay, so words ending in a consonant plus Y. The Y is changed to an I when adding the suffix. So when adding the suffix ing to a word ending in Y, you keep the Y. Okay, so here you've got lonely and loneliness, happy, happiness, but then you have copy and copying. Okay, so words ending in a consonant plus Y, the Y is changed to I when adding the suffix. When adding the suffix ing to word ending in Y, keep the Y. Okay, and then you've got silent E words with a consonant and an E. Like love, like and hope, you drop the E. Okay, and they've given examples here like pimple and pimply. Do you know what we mean by pimple? A pimple is like, actually that's quite American as well. A pimple is like a spot, and if you have lots of spots you are pimply. If you have lots of pimples you are pimply. It's a funny example to give. Okay, and simple and simply. That's quite American, isn't it? Pimply. All about the American things today. Okay, so these are your rules, and I'll come back now because my hand is starting to shake. I need to put the phone down. It's hard to hold the phone up for all that time. I don't know how you do that. Yeah. And so yeah, there are all the rules, but I don't know. Some people like learning rules, and some people don't. So I'm not very good at learning lots of rules. And some people just like to learn the spellings as they go along. That's okay. So it depends what type of person you are and how you like to learn things. If you like sets of rules, then try and learn the rules. But again, there are probably exceptions as well. And like I say, the American spellings make things slightly different. So yeah, it's up to you how you try and learn them. And there are so many suffixes as well. But like I said last week, don't try to learn everything all in one go. Just take it down into small bits at a time. We say we use the expression bite-sized chunks. So like you know, like a bite size, it's like a small bit. So you maybe, I don't know, decide, okay, tonight I'm going to learn verb suffixes with en, and try and learn a few of those, or whichever ones, and just try and learn a few at a time and understand how they work, put them into sentences, however you like to do it. But yeah, just small bits at a time. We say bite-sized pieces, small bits of information frequently, and then it's probably easier than trying to sit down and learn them all in one go, because it will send you crazy. Okay? Does anyone have any questions? I'm sorry about the funny screen at the beginning. I have no idea what caused that. I don't know, because my internet's been fine, so who knows? Computers. Does anyone have any questions or anything else they'd like to know? I think I don't think I have anything more to say. They are there's a lot of suffixes there, and there are a lot of rules. So yeah, I would probably play it back and then take little bits and practice them. Okay, so that's it. Suffixes. It's interesting to learn the rule when you're familiar. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. When you've learnt the spellings and then you look back at the rule and you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I know. It's a strange thing. Well, that's what I don't know if you remember me saying when I was doing all my teacher training many years ago, and I was learning all the rules for English grammar, and I was like, oh, okay, that's why because obviously when I was at school, we learnt how to speak. We didn't learn, when I was at school, we didn't learn grammar rules. When my mum was at school, she learnt grammar rules, and I think they teach it in school now, so I think my daughter will learn grammar rules. But my generation didn't learn grammar rules. So when I was doing my teacher training like 9 years ago, and I had to learn all the grammar rules, I suddenly thought, oh, okay, this is why we say these things, and this is the reason. And then it began. But before, I didn't know why we said the things that we say. And it's always quite funny when I try and explain them to people my age who don't teach English and didn't learn grammar at school, and I explain it to them, and it's quite funny because, yeah, our generation didn't learn it, so I had to learn lots of rules when I've started teaching English, and like you do. So it's always quite interesting to find out. But yeah, I don't know, some people don't like to learn rules, but it's quite handy to have it as an idea if you're suddenly stuck for a spelling or a reason for something. Okay, right, well, I will stop talking and I will say, well, 'cause it's late for you, and I'll say have a nice Friday evening, and I will see you next week. I'm not sure what we're talking about next week, so if anyone has any requests, then just ask Alexandra and we will try and do that. Okay, right, see you all next week. Have a good evening. Goodbye.